All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Vet and the Tech. Now, our tech is on vacation, decided to head down to good old Las Vegas. So I have a special guest here with us tonight. Now, this is kind of a different episode for us. We're doing a celebration special, but we're also going to talk about The Mandalorian since we had our show canceled on Monday due to some technical issues on my behalf, but we'll get that figured all out. But excited to be here, Spencer. Glad to have you here. And before we get into that, I also want to thank our sponsor, TRG Toys and Collectibles. Make sure you check them out, trgtoys.com, for Star Wars, Marvel, you name it, they have it. Very excited tonight to get on this show and talk about last week's episode of The Mandalorian. We're gonna leave this week still kind of blank since it came out today. But Spencer, first of all, welcome, and glad to have you on today.
Greg, thank you so much for having me back. I feel it was literally right before Anaheim when last time I was on the show. So, kind of fitting that it's right before London that I'm back. So I'm very happy. I got some big shoes to fill with Travis being in Sin City, but a lot of stuff to talk about.
It's
Star Wars is huge right now. We're in the final countdown, 21 days before one of our first events, and that's a virtual cantina in London. So, it's a happening.
Yeah, it definitely is here before you know it. And unfortunately, I won't be attending this year in London, but I'll be thinking, watching, all the living through you all there. But let's talk a little bit about last week's episode of The Mandalorian. So, pretty excited. We're getting into some good stuff here. We got Bo-Katan back, little baby Yoda. Y'all know how I love to call him baby Yoda. So sorry, everybody. That's what I'm going to still keep calling him. Grogu, it just doesn't roll off right for me. But yeah, we had a great episode. We started back off, and speaking of Boonta Eve, we head to Tatooine. We see a familiar face there, and we realized that there's a little side scams going on here, so she can make some money here. But what did you think when we jumped into that and saw the celebration for Boonta Eve and really getting that started?
A couple of people who were at the premiere and watched the episode 2 said, just watch episode 2. We can't say anything, but just watch. And if you could have seen me at 3 o'clock in the morning last week, I was like Leonardo DiCaprio going like that. Like, oh my God, they're talking about Boonta, and Pelimoto saying, people do a little bit of this at Boonta. And I'm like, but they do. So I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, it was very, very exciting to hear Boonta Eve being brought back up again. And, especially since, we're in prep for Boonta 4 in London. Yeah. It was nice to see that going on, but it was also nice to see, Pelimoto basically running her scams, while the patrons are getting hammered, and basically, setting the Jawas out, in their, I want to call it their Mardi Gras beads. I hate to find out how they got those beads, but it was still pretty cool. It was nice to see friend of our group, Leilani and Ariel Shu, as two of the 3 Jawas. The other one was Suzanne Malik. Just going in there, and nice having a Rhodian going in there. Dawn Dozier, who was just on our show last week. She seems to be like the resident Rhodian because she played both female Rhodians in Fett as well. But no, honestly, it was a fun start to the episode, and it made me so happy. Just obviously, I have an affinity to Boonta Eve, and the fact that it was mentioned in Mandalorian was like kind of cool.
So the one thing I really loved about this episode is how we kind of went back and redeemed an old character, and that is our good old favorite, one of our favorite droids, R5. I mean, how funny was that? Just the fact that he actually had a part in this, and just how he was afraid, and how they say droids don't have feelings, and it was just, I thought it was pretty fitting that he was in there. And if you guys ever see the certain point of view, kind of R5's story a little bit, so that's something to look up to as well. But what do you think about that? Were you expecting R5 to have the role that he had in this episode?
If I think about it, it doesn't surprise me because that's something that Dave and John do on the reg. They like to bring in the obscure or the characters that were there just for a few seconds to do that. I mean, there was that comic book storyline that R5 was force sensitive and actually blew his motivator on purpose because he saw that R2 needed to do the thing. So the fact that they brought him in was great. It's also fitting in the fact that one of the two pops for Celebration this year happens to be a 2-pack between R2 and R5. Yep. So it was cool. It's nice to give him a little bit of something and something, you see Mando not really trusting droids at the beginning of the whole series, and now he only wants to deal with IG-11.
Yeah.
Can't do that because it goes all Evil Dead Terminator on him again. And
what's funny with the IG-11 is that threw me for a loop because I wasn't expecting us to jump to Mandalore so quickly. I was waiting for that. Like I said on the show a couple weeks ago, I said, "Oh, there's going to be a side quest now to look for this chip," and the side quest was very short, and we went right to Mandalore. And then going with that with R5 and seeing that and everything, and Bo-Katan, like she's been very interesting in this season. I mean, the Night Owls have left her. She's kind of living the hermit life, kind of like Obi-Wan now. Just sitting there by herself in her house. Before we saw what at the end of that episode, like, I mean, what are you expecting from Bo-Katan, and like, what do you think where this story is going? Because obviously, we're not going to get into this week's episode because I don't want to kind of ruin things,
right?
But it's interesting.
Okay, so first and foremost, I love the fact that when she goes to save, this is not a spoiler because this is last week's episode, but you see the mythosaur. So obviously, it was like the oh my god moment. And in the lore of the Mandalorians, is that the only way to claim the throne was to either one, have the Darksaber, or two, tame the beast.
Yep.
She was defeated at the beginning of the episode. She was like, I lost it, go away. At the end of episode 1 as well, go away. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm beaten. I accept it. Just wave your sword in the air and your flag, and you're gonna lead Mandalore. And at the beginning of this episode, at the end of this episode, she was like, I thought she was like, wait a minute, there's the loophole. Maybe things are not lost. So that's how I took the end of the episode. Katie's obviously showing a new side of the character and the storyline, which is, I think, is going to go very much back towards what you saw in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, and with the Night Owls out of the picture, obviously it's going to give her opportunity to do whatever, team up with Mando or whoever. We still got Boba Fett out there. We got all kinds of Mandalorians that are popping up left and right now. But what's also interesting, you talk about, the mythosaur, and we'll get into this a little bit too. We do know there is one person with them that can tame a beast, and we did see a Rancor tamed. Now, this will drive me nuts, but at the same point, I wouldn't be surprised the way this is going, and with the little hint of, Grogu, Baby Yoda, putting that Rancor to sleep, there's going to be some kind of connection there, I think, with that and the mythosaur going in there. But it's to me that was the first thing that popped in my head when taming the beast was him and the Rancor.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, obviously, people are saying, going into this season, okay, who is the true Mandalore? And people are saying, oh, it's gonna be Grogu. Eventually it's gonna be Grogu after Fett and all that. So who knows, really? But yeah I mean, I'm just very excited because I know that going into the season, all his fans were thinking that Bo-Katan was going to be the antagonist, and you're going to see her branch off from Din because of the Darksaber. So where we are in this episode right now, I think we saw one in an abyss. So thanks, Bruce. It's good to see you, my friend. But yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to see what is going on. How they bring that into it. I'm really, really loving the in-depth character analysis, and it's like, okay, now it's getting serious. Like, obviously, we had Andor, and that was a completely different vein. So people were like, to have them jump back in the Mando, feel,
Yeah.
and we're starting to learn more about the characters, which is great because it was all fast paced for the first 2 seasons.
Yeah. So and we're back on Mandalore. I mean, it was just just watching the Clone Wars and everything, and seeing Mandalore in the state that it's in. It was even emotional for probably every diehard fan out there.
Oh yeah,
But then when you look at it, and then you see Bo-Katan out there, and the look on her face when she lands there, and then obviously it just keeps the feelings just keep going. And then on top of that, we get the creatures down there, the spider robot, and I call it like Grievous Part 2.0. I don't know what to call that guy.
right.
But that was interesting. It just really, that story kind of put that path of putting those three together to possibly be in a clan together. Like it kind of felt like because she even started getting sassed with him a little bit. What are you looking at? And she was amazed that he was able to come back and get her to come save Mando. I mean, all those little things. I mean, what were your thoughts? And everybody was listening to, Bruce, thank you for watching. Travis, I see he's watching. Philip, Dan, thank you all so much. We want to know what you thought too, but this new little group here is there's definitely something coming from this.
Well, obviously, yeah, there's definitely something coming from this, whether it's a romantic involvement or, a sly, kind of relationship between the two. She's going to use Din for her own bidding, kind of like the armorer does, in order to get to what she wants. But it was definitely nice to see the relationship between the child and Bo,
Yeah.
and doing their whole thing. But I want to give a little quick shout out as well as to you saw Grogu actually manipulating the pod, like when he was being, I guess you would say his plasma was being deducted and put into the Grievous type character. I thought he was going to be roasting. That's what I initially thought. I was thinking Jedi, he was going to be but just seeing him go in reverse and go that whole scenario. And I also want to throw out as well is those creatures that are on Mandalore, very reminiscent of the Morlocks from the 1960 The Time Machine, which is like one of my all-time favorite movies. I mean, I was like, oh my god, like Morlocks, it was a great creature to bring back into there. They brought in the Harryhausen and Fett, why not,
Yeah, it was definitely. I didn't know what we were getting into on that. It was pretty cool to see that. Definitely interested in the movie. Obviously, they're going to be coming back to Mandalore, and I definitely am anxious to see the rise of it again, because this is what I've been waiting for since they called the Mandalorian.
right?
But so we're getting down there. He goes down to the waters, and obviously, boom, he goes in, about drowns. We find a mythosaur. Now, I know we talked about it a little bit, but just how at the end of that episode, when Bo-Katan comes up and sees that light, I mean, you probably were the same thing I was. My jaw dropped, and I couldn't even say it because I was just like, I was not expecting that.
I was not expecting a mythosaur. Like, I believed in the legend per se because that's what we were trained to be. We were trained in the Clone Wars that the mythosaur is a legendary beast, and go from there. I don't know. I'm going to be very intrigued to see what happens, going forward. But obviously, like I said, I think that Bo now sees an opportunity to potentially legitimately take the throne, like the loophole.
Yeah.
She didn't have the Darksaber. There's mythical creatures there that shows the clans that they're the leader.
Yeah, and with the Darksaber and Indiana, so I'm gonna pop that up there just so everybody can look at it again here. Do you think Bo will help Din learn to use the Darksaber? I see a couple things happening with this scenario, and this is my couple outlooks on there. Is one, either Bo's going to help him, or she's not. She wants to be able to take that from him. But we also know there's a couple other characters out there, so we're rebuilding some Mandalorian clans out there. And obviously, who is probably the best person to teach him how to use that would be Sabine, who went
I would
through the
agree.
training with Kanan.
Yeah, I agree.
Even Ezra. So there's different out there. So I don't know how much Bo is going to help, because I really think she's going to be the Sith of the story and try to get that Darksaber back to redeem it. But at the same time, there's so many options out there. But I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Sabine becomes involved in this storyline.
Well, I think that's going to be the catalyst to link this season into the Ahsoka series that we're going to be getting this fall. So, definitely, it's going to be very interesting. But I thought it was awesome to see is that you had the whole juxtaposition of the fact that Din was still having trouble manipulating the saber.
Yep.
And then as soon as Bo picks it up, she's slicing through things like it's a Ginsu knife. Like, she's just very fluid. And then she has that, I call that Ruby's frisbee of a electro shield. That's like a paper plate. But yeah, that exactly there. But she was like so fluid in her emotions, like she knew how to work the blade.
Yeah, it's there. There's just so many, and being because I'm a huge Rebels fan. Anyone who knows me knows how much I love Rebels, and this could be just the going into the Ahsoka series. Obviously, I mean, we know Ezra's out there, we know Sabine's out there, we know Thrawn's out there, we know all those people are out there, but that Darksaber has a story that ties together pretty hard with her, Sabine, and even Ezra. They all weld it. So it's definitely an opportunity for them to kind of do that quick thing in there. And it's I don't want to talk about the next episode because I'm trying to keep, in there. It's hard when you have to go back because there's a couple things in there I want to really talk about, but I can't. Don't worry, people. Sabine is not in that episode, so I hate to ruin it for you. But at the same time, there's just so many ways Filoni can connect all this, and that's what I'm excited about, is how we're getting into the storytelling of, hey, I can pull this in, and everything there.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got another one here. Let's see what we got. In my view, Bo Saul Mytho, I think she now may be questioning what is real, the fork load or the Mandalorians. She thought the old lore was a joke before that. That could be a possibility.
Absolutely.
And then we also have a new view and wants to bring all the Mandalorians together, even watch. And that was a good point, because she says she was tired of seeing her people fighting, and that's what made them weak. So obviously, there's so much. I just wish we could just watch more.
but if you look like that, you got Bo-Katan, who was raised to be a warrior, and her sister was the pacifist.
Yep.
So is she now starting to see what her sister was trying to teach her in the past?
Yep. So yeah, definitely a lot of things there. That episode was a great episode. I'm glad we got that one in there. I wish it was a little bit longer. I kind of wanted to see a little bit more. And obviously, going into this week's episode, which was great. But again, we won't talk about that as well. But
right.
So overall, last week's episode, great. Mandalorian's been on to a good start. Been exciting. A lot of great little Easter eggs. A lot of great little things that you don't know which path. It's kind of like that choose your own adventure book, which page turn to and everything there. So
very cool.
Let's get into what's coming up here pretty soon. So obviously, we have the Mandalorian going on, but there's something in the Star Wars world popping up here. And if you guys know what we're getting ready to talk about, obviously it is Star Wars Celebration. Again, unfortunately, I will not be attending this year. It's killing me. But at the same time, it's going to be a lot of great stuff streaming. We'll be able to watch as well. And then, of course, I'll be living through you, Spencer, and everybody else who's there enjoying a good time. But I mean, we're not too far away here. So reason Spencer's on here tonight, like I said, not only has Travis decided to leave Indiana where it's cold and windy and rainy and go down to Vegas and go live it up in the nice warm weather for a little bit while. He's here because we're going to talk about not only about what's going on at Star Wars Celebration, some of the stuff that's already been announced, but some of the after hours events, some of the events that they put on as well. So let's get into it. So let's talk Star Wars Celebration. The first thing I want to talk about before we get into the events is I want to talk about the badge art.
It's about time. It's about time. I mean, last year was such a disappointment. The key art, the thing was, the key art, if you actually saw the prints, it was actually really nice. It just did not translate into a badge.
Yeah. The prints like last year was amazing. And then when you saw the badge, that they just got the resolution. But
Right.
this year is so cool because you got 19 badges. They really didn't say about the celebration badge, which is the bottom right corner of this puzzle that you can put together.
Right.
So I don't know if everybody's going just gets one, or if it's the back of your pass, or I don't know how they're going to do that one. But it's just so cool. They went through all the generations, amazing art, and it just I love how it puzzles together and just gives you an overall like a great way to frame it.
Well,
So
I mean, one of the big things after the con is to buy the set and frame it. So uh, I think that they're starting to see, like, fans are coming up with their own ideas on how to display stuff. So, they're going to cash in on it any way they possibly can. I mean, I don't begrudge them for that.
yeah, so that's definitely exciting. So great badge art. I know a lot of people last year were wondering what the direction it was going to go this year. So we do know we have some amazing. It's I wish I might have to try to find a way to get that once the store goes open. Hopefully they'll have them all there available.
And badges are starting to ship right now. And people are starting to get the tracking numbers, so we'll start to see who gets what in what capacity.
Yeah, because we still don't know like what's going on for all those. What's the VIP badge? What is this? And again, it's just great stuff on there. So the other thing is we also now know some of the exhibitors that are going to be there. I haven't got a chance to go through that list yet. So Spencer, I don't know if you have to. What are some of the highlights, if you have gone through it? What are some of the highlights that you noticed from the exhibitors? There's one that isn't listed but did verify they're going to be there, and that's Lego.
Correct.
So that one broke my heart.
And Forbidden Planet. Forbidden Planet will be at Celebration. They have a big hub store in London, but they have a great one in the West Village in New York City as well, which is their US version. So that's pretty exciting. Obviously Funko, which hopefully they announce more pops, because I'm very underwhelmed being a pop head like you are. They're going to have Pulse there, so they're going to have the red Vader, which is they announced a while ago as the Black Series version. So you're going to have that. Our friend of both our groups, Kevin Lyle, will be over in London. Yep. So Norse Legion will be over there. There's a lot of things that are missing. I mean, Her Universe does not have a booth right now. I mean, it could be added in, but right now they're not showing at Her Universe. They did announce that Beckett Authentication, with doing CGC as well, will be available on site for your authentication needs over there. There's going to be also some autograph vendors as well. I saw that, so I was pretty excited about that. I know some members who were over at London Film and Comic-Con picked up some really good autographs, over at that con. Yeah. So who knows what's going to happen there? I mean, from what I've gathered, as I spoke to some people over in London today, is that you're going to be able to see literally everything. I mean, it's a big arena facility for what they have over there, but it's very condensed. So you're going to be able to really get a look at everything that's there. But yeah, it's going to be a really great. I'm excited to experience Celebration in a different format.
Yeah.
We're used to the US format.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what they do there.
So yeah, Hasbro, that's another one we'll see on that. I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna be a QR code. That seems to be their popular way of doing it now, because then that's less they have to take overseas.
Right.
So I'm gonna guess it's probably a QR code. Funko, they definitely need to jump back after last year's Celebration too. There really wasn't the item. The most exciting item to me was the Boba Fett soda. The rest of them were just repackaged. Funko.
Well, go back to, my first Celebration was 2017, and Funko was great that year because they came out the Thrawn, and they had, Rey and the Speeder, and they had, Qui-Gon as a hologram or a Force Ghost, which foreshadowed, what was coming in Obi-Wan a couple years later. And then you had Chicago, which had Watto and had them all, and then you had Chrome, which I despise Chrome. I despise single color pops. I find it lazy.
Yeah, don't look right there then. Right. Okay. I'm
That's
blocking.
fine. That's fine. To each other. But I don't want to buy the same mold just in
Yeah.
different colors for sake of buying. If I'm spending my money, I want to spend on something that I like, that I'm willing to want to display now or at some time. Chicago. I mean Anaheim. See, the funny thing is that like I said, like many of you know, I was not at con in Anaheim, so I really didn't ask anybody to pick up any Funkos for me. I picked up everything, from the shared things, and then I got the Lando Falcon for like half the price on Amazon like 2 months ago.
Yep.
They probably want to get it out of the warehouse,
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't miss anything. But now, like, I'm going over there. I'm like, I'm looking at it. I'm like, maybe the bulk of my money might be, spent at the store this time, as opposed to, no Regal Robot. That's a huge one. I'm shocked that's not over there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's a lot of stuff there. But Mark Van Olen, who is a brand manager for Duonovo Rubies, Duonovo is going to be over at Celebration. It's cool, and they have a really nice Mandalorian Din Djarin helmet that they're releasing over there, and they have 2 Sabine helmets that are in production right now.
Yep.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, their stuff is just amazing. And then also we got Gentle Giant. I'm sure they're going to have an exclusive. They usually have something for every celebration. So there's a lot of stuff out there we still haven't heard, but also for people who are anxious and ready to know who are going, you might want to write these dates down. Obviously, you'll see them again, but the official show store, March 23rd, and then the Funko booth, March 29th, which I think is on Eastern time. Is that 11?
Yeah, it's 11 Eastern, so it'll be 10 a.m. Chicago,
Okay.
and then 8 a.m. Pacific. I like the fact of doing that. I know someone in my group was actually saying, I don't understand why they're doing reservations for for the going store. And I actually was quick to say, you really have never seen the line at the store, have you?
Yeah.
Reservations is honestly a great way, because unfortunately, unless you have a VIP or maybe ADA sticker or anything of that nature, or like in Chicago, in Anaheim, if you got a ticket for the 501st Bash, you got a fast lane pass to the store as well. People literally have spent their entire day at con waiting to get into the store.
I will tell you that Chicago, that was a friend of mine, spent the whole first day in line. Literally just the whole day was done waiting in line just to get into the shop. Luckily, it was Thursday, so it wasn't a lot. I think it was Thursday because I did it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But just that was one whole day of your convention gone. So yeah, I mean, I know it stinks, people. I understand the lottery system. Sometimes you don't get it, sometimes you do. It's the luck of the draw, but it does. I mean, I would rather, if I didn't get it, and I'd rather be doing something than wait in line and be told, "Oh, you're sold out." So, or when you get there, nothing's in there, and it's just you wasted your whole day on there. So
yeah, I mean, at least in Chicago, we had that preview day. That was I looked at it was my shopping day, because Autograph Hall didn't start till Friday. So I bought stuff from Regal Robot. I had Funko in my lottery. I had went around, bought some stuff, because I knew that the rest of the weekend I was going to be in Autograph Hall. I was going to panels. So it'd be it's be intriguing. But I like the fact that they're offering this opportunity to get into the store. I mean, I might end up, if I had the opportunity and I get in, buy the Funkos and sell them. Just because people are going to buy.
Yep.
People, people were as soon as you leave the booth, people were saying, "Hey, are you selling this?" And I'm like, I literally just put my credit card down. Like why are you trying? Like, the thing is that people want it. People want the sticker. There's sticker hounds out there, which I understand.
And then with the VIP and the light speed, Have you seen anything on that yet? Does the VIP?
I haven't seen anything, but I would probably say that that's probably automatic. I mean, like getting into the main stage panels, that's a perk. It would be stupid, in my opinion, that if they didn't add that as a perk for the VIP, then it's one less thing that is not that they can't do, and they should be able to do just about everything but go backstage.
Yeah. So, and then the last thing we'll talk about before we get into all your events, I really want you to talk about those. The celebrity guest, were you surprised that some of the names that weren't mentioned? Obviously, Hamill, we know that there's like probably a good chance he wasn't going to be there. But I was kind of, Pedro and a few others I thought that would be there. And I know there's other filming and stuff going on. But it feels like, your two main headliners, Hayden and Ewing. I mean, that was pretty much your Anaheim. Were you kind of shocked with some of the ones that you got? Or?
Okay, so let's step back a minute. I mean, Hayden didn't sign in Anaheim.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I'm sorry. I was thinking New York with him.
Right. So this is the first time that you're going to get the two of them signed. This is the first time that you're going to get a dual photo op, which really chafes me because I was supposed to go 3 years ago this week to Ace Comic-Con Boston in my backyard for Ewan's first ever con, and I was going to meet Ewan and Hayden and Chris Evans was going to be there and Chris Helmsworth was going to be there, and then it was the last con before COVID started, and boom. So I'm still a little bit bitter, about 3 years ago, that kind of stuff. But this is the first time that you're going to be able to get Ewan and Hayden together in a photo op.
Yeah, it seems like for some reason New York and Celebration keep blurring into one event for me.
Right.
That's what happens when you get old. But yeah, I mean, I was, I thought for sure we'd have more Mandalorian there because like it feels like, when Celebration got canceled and we lost, I feel like we lost a lot because that was a big focus on the Mandalorian then.
Well, it's also 40th of Empire as well, so you figure you had that going for them as well. I mean, they have a great OT lineup for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, which is very, there's some really good people there, and they also have a lot of people who can drive in. They have people who live, or can take the tube and get right over there. People who still work at Pinewood, and can come over there and. So, I mean, I would say that Ewan, Hayden, and I would actually say Rosario. Yeah. I would say Rosario's a headliner.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Her turnout's been really good at conventions. And they're
doing the dual photo op between her and Ashley, which is awesome.
That is awesome. This will be their second convention now together.
Together. They're also doing MegaCon the week before, actually. So Ashley's only doing Thursday and then flying to Chicago for C2E2. Yeah. But Rosario is there at MegaCon as well. But yeah, I'd absolutely say that they were that Rosario is one of the headliners. I think there's three. I think it's you and Hayden, Rosario, easily. I actually think that this is obviously a much better autograph hall than Anaheim was. My issue with the Anaheim hall was the fact that you had an A+ actor of Ewan, and you had nothing into like a B- C. And it's not degrading any of the actors that are in it. They're all fantastic. But I'm just saying there was nothing that was like, it was like, hey, Ewan, and then it went down. Like there was nothing like that.
You mean Anthony Daniels, Carl Weathers, and then you kind of
right. But I would say those are. I mean, Anthony Daniels is obviously old school and he's fantastic on that. But I would not put him in the A tiers anymore. I'd put him in the B's. Quite honestly, I think that. But if you have if Hayden was able to sign, if they were able to get someone to be like an A- type of actor or B+, then you would have more fluidity. I think in this con. The selection is very fluid, all the way through from OT, some prequels, all the way through the Disney era.
Yep, and I know like, I just saw someone said, the lack of sequels, it was that surprising. And it doesn't surprise me because if you look at some of the main characters from the sequels, like, Driver doesn't do conventions anymore. Ridley, like all that. I'm not surprised that we don't have a lot from there,
I'm surprised not Oscar after New York. I was really thinking that New York was going to be, Oscar testing out for Celebration.
Yeah. Yeah. So that one kind of surprised me. And the one thing I kind of wish Celebration would do more of, and I know we have anniversaries coming up, so it kind of throws a loop in there. But like, I mean, let's look at some of the like Solo. I mean, am I mistaken, or is there not am I missing somebody from Solo, or is?
Well, Jonas is there.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Okay.
So Jonas is there for Solo, and he's also. I mean, if you really want to say it, you can look at Andy Daniels was in Solo. You could also say Harrison and Warwick Davis were in Solo. They were the battle droids. So there's Solo representation in there. I mean, obviously in Chicago, we had a huge Solo contingent, which was great because I was working on a cast piece that year. But I mean, we got some really good stuff. But also, as I mean, I was shocked. Like I said, I thought Oscar was going to be there, but awesome Gwendolyn Christie, absolutely awesome. Considering the fact that one of the biggest shows this year is Wednesday. So how many Wednesday mashups or, people are going to come with items from Wednesday to get Gwendolyn on it?
It's there. It's out there. It's just like, like Pedro not being there. Like that one shocked me. I really thought he was going to be announced there with the Mandalorian starting up and everything. But, hopefully he doesn't come soon because I still need to get that cast piece back behind me finished. But yeah, so a lot out there, a lot of still a great lineup. I mean, it's hard to be disappointed. Prices. I heard people like, oh, prices this and that, and I understand they're kind of high, but there's some that's actually lower than some of the U.S. appearances too. When you take a look, but overall, it's a good lineup. There's a lot out there I would like to get my hands on to get some autographs, but at the same time, I'll wait and hopefully catch them in the U.S. But enough of Celebration. Let's talk about your guys' stuff at Celebration. So obviously, you guys have a lot going on. So I'm going to kind of give you the floor a little bit and talk about, what's going on for you guys. What is there to do there after we're done with it during the day and even the day before?
So we're literally starting the Wednesday before Celebration. We did something called the Not So Virtual Cantina at the Anaheim Hilton Bar. The Wednesday before, it was a Tuesday in Anaheim, and it was just a laid back. Let's go have a drink. Let's do some swag trading. Let's have a chance to have some conversations with people, because Bunta Eve it's now become a Celebration tradition. After Anaheim, the success we had over there, it was not a difficult decision for my partners and I to say we're going to London. We cannot afford to take the year off. And it's big this year. It's the first year that we're in the history of our events that first off, we're charging to get in. So our whole business plan is completely different in that capacity. We sold out in less than 72 hours with not one name announced. Now, the thing is that we made a reputation in Anaheim that we had some guests signing. We had some surprises. We had the Alderaan Idol karaoke competition. We sold out in less than 72 hours with not one guest announced, that said everything to me right there on, our reputation, even overseas, which was great. At that time, we had announced that Blob of the Hutt from Ireland and Fanta Tracks were going to be doing live podcasting. We announced that Jedi News was going to be doing live correspondence on all their socials throughout the entire event. So showing things online, interviewing some of the guests, which is great. And we had announced that the DJ is Level Up Leroy, who is one of the most prolific nerd DJs in the world. Him and DJ Elliott are the main guys of that scenario. But we also had announced that Blues Harvest is going to be doing a special unplugged performance at Bunta Eve. And if you've ever seen Blues Harvest in concert, they are an incredible Comic-Con pop culture cover band. Absolutely incredible. They played on stage with Ray Parker Jr. They just did the Forge in London for a pop-up for Mandalorian when they had Pedro and Jon Favreau showed up. So we just announced that just before we announced a single guest. We just started announcing guests like 2-3 weeks ago, and we have right now 10 guests announced for Bunta, and we're not done. So, we were talking about badges and art. One of the guests that we have announced already is Paul Shipper. And if you're familiar of the key art of Orlando and Chicago and the badges, Paul was the designer of that. He is one of our guests for Bunta Eve, which is pretty awesome. Yep. We are very heavy Return of the Jedi. There's a lot of actors out there who, you want to get on your cast piece that you need. They're not going to be at Celebration proper. But we have people all the way from the prequels through the OT to the Disney era, all the way through to Disney Plus as guests of our event. And it's going to be hosted by a gentleman named D. Tales, who was in almost all the Disney movies, really, except for Rogue One. And he was just a character in Willow. And he was actually a musician for a hip-hop group in England back in the 90s. So he's going to be our host for Alderaan Idol, which is going to be awesome for that. And it's absolutely insane that, first off, we're going to London in the first place, and we're running London, and we have so much to do, but I'm so excited that, if you are an autograph fan, between Bunta Eve on Thursday, Celebration proper, and an event called #Cantina2 on Sunday, you have opportunities to get autographs from people who are unique to that event. There is no crossover whatsoever in any of the events. So it's not like you can say, if I didn't get this actor at Bunta, I can give a Cantina. We've been in full communication with Martin Keeler and his team over in Europe to make sure that both of our events had unique lineups to make the experience of Celebration that much greater. So you can walk in to Celebration and kind of almost have a cast piece if you really thought about it, completely done. It's awesome. It's becoming, more than just a con. And one thing I've always said is that Celebration is great, and there's nothing wrong with the schedule that ReedPop puts together. But the events before and after con really enhance your experience, because that's when you make, besides your line friends, you're making your friends at the events, and then you're running into them and stay online with them to get into stuff. You're texting each other. Are you online for the store? Are you getting into this panel? Okay, can you save me a spot? Kind of thing. It's all about the community of Star Wars in whatever capacity. There's so many opportunities this year to do stuff. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, it's and the past couple celebrations I've been to, it's the after hour stuff. It makes it fun. You're always meeting new people, becoming new friends with people, and it's just unreal. It's different than most other conventions. It's one of those conventions that
there's nothing like Celebration. There's literally nothing like Celebration. You can go to New York Comic Con, you can go to SDCC, you can go to London, and I tell everybody, it's like, listen, if you prep for Celebration, you can get through any other con like that. But if you start at other cons and you go to Celebration, it's a culture shock. Because even if Epic Ops is running the photo op area at any particular con, let's just say it's SCCC or C2E2 or Fan Expo, the way they run their booths there is completely different from how they run their booths for Celebration. Celebration is its own egg. and you cannot compare it to anything because you're also not in competition with other genres. Like, yeah, you might have an actor who was, in this movie or that movie, but they're there primarily for Star Wars. You go to their table, they're really not going to have a photo from a different property at their table.
Yeah.
Whereas at like a C2E2, just to use your local con, you might have a bunch of Star Wars actors, but they might have their other properties right there, and they're competing against the Marvel, against the DC, against the Disney, against Netflix. They have many things. So Celebration is, you have to be there to understand it. We can hype it as much as we want. We'll prep you to be ready for it, the worst case scenario. But once you come back from Celebration and whatever incarnation is, and you go to your next local con, you're gonna be like, wow, this is a cakewalk compared to what I just did at Celebration.
Yeah, it's definitely it's one of those events. If this is your first one, people, congratulations. Take your time, but have fun out there. Don't get over. It's overwhelming, but don't let it stress you. I know it's hard to say that, but there's so much stuff, and and usually, unfortunately, schedules kind of conflict. Usually we do one celebration prep, but we really didn't get into that this year on that. But here's the things here's a question I have for you, and if people are still out here watching. What are you hoping to see from this celebration? I know myself, I'm ready for a movie. I need to see Star Wars in a movie theater soon. Like, I love Disney Plus, don't get me wrong. I love all the shows, and we get out, we get it weekly, but I am ready to go to the big screen and watch it there. So that's what I just want to know when that next, I know the rumor is 2025. But who knows? That's just a rumor that's out there. What's the main thing you're hoping to see from the celebration?
Well, obviously a movie. I mean, like, I went to see Rogue One before Andor came out when it was re-released into the IMAX, and there was nothing like I went with Frank Rich from Star Wars Autograph News, and I was like, there's nothing like being in a theater and seeing, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yep.
But I am thinking that the big reveal of the weekend is going to come on the opening panel on Saturday. I think we're going to find out who Thrawn is.
Yeah, I noticed, and for people who are out there like rumors and stuff, I noticed there was a wrench kind of thrown in today. I saw a couple of articles out there that it's not who we think it's going to be. But at the same time, I hate going into those rumors because, obviously you can't verify those sources. But I think Thrawn, obviously Lucasfilm knows who Thrawn's going to be. I mean, we're filming Ahsoka now, so it's got to be out there. I still think we're going to see him during the Mandalorian. I think they're really, but I think you're right. That could be definitely a huge one out there. And I think the other big news drop is I'm again here going to my Rebels is Ezra. Because we already know who Sabine's going to be. We already know Ahsoka. We know Hera's coming back. We still need to know who that Ezra actor, because it still has not been confirmed yet. So,
well, do you think it's Mary Elizabeth Winstead playing Hera?
That's the big rumor. So again, not confirmed, but yes,
Mrs. Ewan McGregor. I'm sorry. To me, she's always going to be Ramona Flowers. So, it's a little Scott Pilgrimage right there. But yeah, I think Thrawn's going to be the big announcement. I think, and that's what we were waiting for actually in Anaheim. Is we thought we thought we were going to hit Thrawn last year. We got Sabine. Not going to knock Sabine. We got Sabine. We know Sabine and Chopper are back. We got that little. You saw the Leku of Hera in the little teaser. So great. We know that's happening. We know that you're going to see Fulcrum. You're going to see that painting from the epilogue of Rebels in live action form. So I want to throw this to you. Do you think the epilogue from Rebels happens after Ahsoka fights the Magistrate? Do you think that that's when she finds out where Thrawn is? That's when she goes to get Sabine to go look for Ezra.
That is such a great question. And I have been back and forth on this one so many times just to try to figure out a timeline. That epilogue was just so unique because obviously we jumped into different time. We jumped into, obviously Rex and then the Battle of Endor. We go into everything there. But gosh, I mean, I think I really think it's after. I'm gonna go after just for the fact that she's still looking. So then after she goes there, and then that's when she goes and picks up Sabine and says, "All right, let's go." We're ready to roll and look for them now because I kind of know where they're at.
Right.
That's my gut on there. But God, I just can't wait this whole puzzle. I think this is probably my, obviously I was a young kid when, the first Star Wars came out and everything. I think this is the
When it
Rebels
was called Star
timeline.
Wars. When it was called Star Wars.
Yeah, when it was Star Wars. Like this is kind of like our moment. Like this is our now that all these stories are intertwining, to me it's exciting because we've got so much more of the universe out there with Mando, with Thrawn, and yeah, people go, where were they during this sequel? Well, it's a big universe. They might have already been taking care of something else. Obviously, Palpatine wasn't the only bad guy out there at the time, so there's other things going on in the universe. But yeah, I'm going to say that epilogue took after that battle because then she found out where Thrawn could be at, and then I think that's when she goes gets the beam, and that's when the whole epilogue starts.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's gonna be it. But for those who who are watching Star Wars now, you're getting content that you're never gonna have to wait again for Star Wars content.
Yeah.
We had to wait from 83 to 99 before we got anything live action. So when Heir to the Empire came out, we were hungry for anything Star Wars, and Timothy Zahn brought in Thrawn, and all of us were like, our minds were blown. So when he showed up in season 3 of Rebels, we went nuts. Like, we're like, oh my God, because we were always waiting. We're like, we need Thrawn. We need Thrawn. We need Thrawn. And here we go. It's pretty awesome. But I think that's going to be, like I said, I think that's going to be the big reveal of the week, besides a movie, potentially. Obviously, they're doing a 40th retrospective of Return of the Jedi with Ming-Na Wen as the host of it, which is an interesting choice. But I think Warwick is going to be a guest as opposed to the host this time.
Yeah.
And I think if there's going to be anything from Mark, Harrison, or George, it's going to be then, whether it be a video or a surprise. I think that's when they're going to show up for that. You have the Obi-Wan, panel with Ewan, Hayden, Vivian, and Indra with Deborah Chow. The director's there. Could we see a season 2?
Yeah, to me, that's the one. That's the one I'm kind of hoping we don't. As much as I hate to say it, because I loved that series.
Right.
I'm going to officially say I'm ready to move on from the Obi-Wan story.
Yep. But they also announced Andor. I mean, Diego and Tony Gilroy have a panel. So Diego is going to be at Celebration. Doesn't mean he's signing, but he's already been announced for a panel. So we got stuff. And also we're going to hear about Skeleton Crew, which, we've been hearing that the pirates from episode 1 of The Mandalorian season 3 are maybe the antagonists for the Skeleton Crew. Which he kind of looks like Swamp Thing or the character that Carrie Jones played in Werewolf by Night. Same guy who played Chrysanthemum. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of great stuff out there. Hopefully there's gonna be some stuff about the parks. About there's gonna be a Star Wars in the UK and talking about filming over there. Which is pretty awesome that they're utilizing that capacity as well, because there's so many people over there. And the cosplay competition is being judged by the main costume designer of The Mandalorian, Shayna Truppick. So they're really utilizing what they have to be what they're doing.
Yeah. So a lot of great stuff. Celebration is going to be a blast. You guys are lucky. I can't wait to see everything through there. I
want to plug that if you are a fan of the Virtual Cantina, which is our group and our network, which is www.youtube.com/the Virtual Cantina Network. Every day from Thursday until Monday, we are going to be doing a live recap show of Celebration. So what we're going to be doing over there is we're going to be feeding information to our team, because most of our team is not coming over with us. And then they're going to put together a show and do a show specifically for the U.S. to recap and show videos that we're going to be sending them through, our cloud of videos and pictures and everything like that. So if you want a good recap besides what they do on StarWars.com, check out our page and check us out on Facebook as well, because we're going to have a lot of information coming fast and furious, throughout the weekend.
Can't wait to see what you guys see over there. Again, like I said, I'll be jealous, but at the same time, excited to see everything that's going on. And for those that don't know, one of the reasons I won't be going too is will be having surgery here on the 28th. So I'm gonna be out of the loop for a little while too. But that's okay. I'm used to those. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much, Spencer, tonight. I had a blast having you on here. Obviously our partner in time, Travis, is probably sitting here drinking a beer and doing whatever, gambling out in Vegas. But also to everybody,
Skirmit Rhino, we know this.
But definitely am excited what's going on in the Star Wars world. But also to everybody, remember too, depression, anxiety is very important. And we need to look out for our brothers and sisters, veteran or not veteran. And one of the things you hear me preach about a lot is PTSD awareness, depression awareness. So if you see someone acting different, your friends, ask them if they're doing okay. Check on them every once in a while. You never know. You could change their lives. You can even save their lives. We lose 22 veterans a day, and we lose even more everybody's suicide. We don't want to see that happen. So one of the things that I want to reach out to is everybody, if you need help, please don't be afraid to ask. It's important to me. It's important to you. It's important to your family. It's important to your friends. Don't be afraid to ask for help, everybody. We lose too many friends and family members to suicide every day. And it's just something that we need to start really looking at each other about. And what a great community where we can be ourselves without judgment in the Star Wars world. That's one of the reasons I started this page, started this, these videos, is because it's a judgment-free zone. You're all welcome here, and it's something. And the friendships you make is just unreal. Spencer, we have become friends. Travis, unreal. Just the family that you build. So we're all one family here. Anyone needs anything, please feel free to message us. We'll see what we can do to help you there. But other than that, Spencer, again, thank you so much. It was an honor and a blast having you on here tonight. We'll hopefully be back next week. I'm hoping, depends on surgery schedules and everything else, but should be back next week. The week after probably will be gone. And then back again after that. So until then, everybody, make sure you check out our sponsor, TRG Toys and Collectibles. Spencer, where can they follow you out on social media?
Yeah, so you can follow us. You can see right underneath there is our Instagram, which is virtual.cantina. Also, you can find us on Facebook. I know there's a lot of Star Wars Celebration Europe 2023 pages, but look for the world's largest one. Look for 47,000 members as of the other day. Yep. We're hoping to be at 50 by the time we hit Celebration. Yep. So fingers crossed from there. Also, you can find us on Twitter at Cantina Virtual. We just joined the TikTok, much to my chagrin. We're on Hive with the rest of Star Wars. And we are on YouTube at the Virtual Cantina Network, which is youtube.com/the Virtual Cantina Network, where we have programming pretty much almost every single day, which is great. And, reach out to us. If you have some questions about Celebration or prep, or, things to think about, as you're getting your schedule together, we get some great tools and great things right there. But we're all community. And I want to preface that is that it doesn't matter what form of Star Wars you like, and you might not like the prequels. You might not like the OT. You might not like the sequel trilogy. Yep. But we all come back to the fact that we love Star Wars. Yep. And we can love and hate and disagree, but at the end of the day, Star Wars is a safe zone for everybody.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Definitely love it. Bruce, thank you. Take care of you guys. Bruce just messaged us on that. But just overall, again, you can find me. Make sure you say hi to our sponsors too, TRG Toys and Collectibles. You can find me a couple places, obviously at the #show, #show.com. Also NerdyVet574. That's my social media for everything, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. I'm not on the TikToks, but you know, you can find me there as well. Again, guys, everybody, thank you so much. Be safe, stay healthy, enjoy Star Wars Celebration. If I don't talk to you till after that, and like always, everybody, may the Force be with you.